Solving quadratics by factoring, binomials. In this video, we're going to focus on binomials, which is two terms. So we're going to factor quadratics with just two terms. First of all, we're going to talk about the zero product property. This is something that we're going to use to solve after we've factored. So if you look at my three examples on the screen, all three of those have been factored. Now I'm going to solve them. And the zero product property says if you multiply two things, like A and B, and when you multiply them together, if you get 0, then either A is 0 or B is 0. So think about it. You can't take two numbers and multiply them together to get 0 unless one of them is 0. For example, 1 and -1. That's -1 whenever you multiply it together. So one of the two numbers has to be 0. So what we're doing for example 1 is we're saying, okay, either x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x plus 9 is equal to 0. So we're just going to set both of them equal to 0 and solve, and we'll have two solutions. So again, this is what your answer looks like whenever you are solving a quadratic. Same with the next one, we're going to set 2x plus 3 equal to 0 and solve, and set x minus 1 equal to 0 and solve. So these three were pretty easy to do. I didn't really need to even show any work. It was easy to do those in my head. But this one right here is where people go wrong a lot of times because they try to do that in their head as well. So I highly suggest that you write out your work for these and not try to do it all in your head. The last one, we're just going to set 3x equal to 0, and we're going to set x plus 5 equal to 0. So we'll get x is 0 and x equals -5. So again, we do this step after we factor, only if the problem says to solve. Okay, so we're going to start by factoring when we just need to pull out a greatest common factor. The directions tell me I need to factor and solve. Be careful in your homework. It might say only to factor, or it might want you to go all the way and solve. So for number 1, for this first problem, I notice that I have a common factor in here of x. I can divide both of these by x. So you can write it as literally divide by x if you want to. So I'm going to pull an x out, and whenever I take x squared and I divide it by x, I'm just left with 1x. Whenever I take 2x and I divide it out in x, I'm just left with 2. So that is factored. To solve it, I'm going to set each of the pieces equal to 0 and solve. Well, that first one was pretty easy. Setting x equal to 0, I just got x equals 0. And the next one, I'm going to get -2. You should always expect two answers on quadratics. Alright, next problem. The first thing I need to do is make this set equal to 0. So do you see how there's a 9x on the other side of the equal sign? I'm going to subtract it over so that I have 3x squared minus 9x equals 0. Now you might be wondering why I didn't move this to the right side. Well, I always want to keep my x squared term positive. So any term that has an x squared, I want that to be positive. Okay, looking for a GCF now. I know I can divide out an x from each of these, but I can also divide out a 3 because 3 divides 3 and 9. So my GCF, my greatest common factor, is 3x. 3x squared divided by 3x, I'm just left with an x, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. I had two x's and I pulled one out, so all I have left is 1x. And then 9x divided by 3x will be just 3, and keep that minus sign. You can check yourself on these by redistributing. If I do 3x times x, I'm going to get 3x squared. And 3x times -3, I'll get -9x. So you can always double check your work on these. Okay, that was factored. Now we're going to go ahead and solve. Alright, and the last one. I can't take any numbers and divide them out of 2 and 5. There's no common factor between 2 and 5, so just leave those. But I can pull out an x. You'll always be able to pull out an x. So my greatest common factor is x, and what I have left is 2x plus 5. I've reduced each of them by an x. Set each equal to 0 and solve. Again, don't do this in your head because people go wrong on that. Alright, my second type of problem is when we have a difference of squares. So first of all, difference means subtraction. And squares are perfect squares. So let's list out all of our perfect squares that we know. Well, x squared is a perfect squared. 1, 4, 9, 16. And the way I'm getting these numbers is I'm just taking 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. Next would be 5 times 5, which is 25, and so on. Make sure you have this list of numbers in front of you whenever you're doing these problems so that you can easily identify difference of squares problems. Okay, with our first example, I have an x squared. I have a subtraction sign, and 9 is in that list of numbers that I just listed out. Notice that there's not an x with the 9. If there were an x there, I would have to just pull out a greatest common factor. I couldn't do a difference of squares. So the way that we factor this is we take the square root of each of these. The square root of x squared, square roots and squares just cancel out, so I get x. I'm going to put that at the front of each of my terms. And then the square root of 9 is 3. One of these gets a plus and one of these gets a minus. This is just a rule for whenever you factor difference of squares. If you were to multiply these together with either FOIL or box method, you could check yourself and you would see that you would get x squared minus 9. So you could always do a quick box method on your quizzes and tests just to make sure that you get the right answer. Okay, so again, this step is just factoring. So if the directions just said to factor, we would stop there. But if they say solve, we're going to go one step further, set them equal to 0, and solve. Subtract the 3 over and add the 3 over. Alright, the next problem, notice that 3 and 12 are not in that list of numbers that I said before. And that's because the first thing we have to do is look for a greatest common factor always. And I know that I can divide both 3 and 12 by 3. So I'm going to pull out a factor of 3, divide them both by 3. Now, if you look right here, I have a difference of squares. There's a subtraction sign, and I have x squared, and I have 4, which are both in my list above. So my factored form is going to be x plus 2 and x minus 2, just like this. I got the 2's because the square root of 4 is 2. If I set them equal to 0, I get x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 2. For your factored form, you have to have this 3 out front. You can't leave it off. Alright, and then our last problem, make sure it's set equal to 0. We want to keep the 4x squared positive, so I'm going to subtract over the 25. Notice that I don't have a greatest common factor. Nothing divides 4 and 25. But 4 and 25 are both in the list above, so I'm going to do my difference of squares. Now this one's a little different. I need to make sure that I take the square root of the 4 and the 25. Square root of 4x squared is 2x, and the square root of 25 is 5. So I have 2x plus 5 and 2x minus 5. It doesn't matter if I put 2x minus 5 first and plus 5 second. Alright, set them equal to 0 and solve. Okay, I want you to pause your video now and try these two independent practice problems. Make sure that you factor and solve them. And then restart your video to see the answers. Okay, so the first problem ended up being a difference of squares. I started by getting it set equal to 0, and then I took the square root of 4x squared and 49. And then the second one was just pulling out a greatest common factor. First of all, 6 and 12 weren't in my list of perfect squares. Neither was 2 once I divided everything by 6. And I had an x in this second term right here. So it's not going to be a difference of squares if there's an x there.